Hi, this is Lon Welsh at Your Castle Real Estate, and I want to talk a little bit about how buyer behavior for homes has changed because of COVID. And I think there's three significant trends that you might find interesting if you're a seller. The first of those is that the buyers are in a little bit more of a rush than they normally are. The gestation period from first starting to do your search to actually closing on a house has been compressed quite a bit. Part of that, actually quite a bit of it's probably due to the fact that we weren't allowed to show homes at all in April and part of May. And a lot of those buyers really wanted to buy something, so they've all been thrown into the mix in a very competitive situation, which has forced them to accelerate a little bit. So I think they're not looking at quite as many houses, and that's probably enabled them to be maybe just a little bit more flexible because there's not as many homes to choose from as there normally would be at this time of the year. The second big trend is the wish lists are changing just a little bit. And I think the biggest one by far is the emergence of having a home office, which has always been an interest of a segment of the buyers, but the number of buyers who find that interesting has grown dramatically just in the last couple months. And of course, I think the reasons for that are probably not a surprise to you. So if you're thinking about listing a home, and if you've got some part of your home that could be reasonably explained as a home office, I would try to highlight that, make that a priority where in the past maybe you haven't. And if it's not as clear as it could be to the buyer on their first walkthrough, maybe stage the space so the buyer could imagine how they could have their home office set up there, and it could be kind of a graceful way to get business done while we still hunker down for the rest of the COVID time. Then the last thing I want to talk about is concern about commutes. Historically, like if you take a look at the last 20 years, if you look at the amount of appreciation by neighborhood in Denver, basically the closer you were to Union Station, the more appreciation you experienced. And the further away from the bullseye you were, the less appreciation you experienced. And I think the big driver that tends to explain that is commute distance to downtown. There does not seem to be nearly that emphasis on commute time at the moment as there has been historically. If anything, it's been a backlash where people who've got lofts or condos to sell downtown are getting less showing traffic than we would anticipate, and nicer communities outside of downtown are doing a little bit more showing traffic than historically we would expect. So if you've got a home that's located outside of downtown or a condo, this might actually play to your favor if you're thinking about selling and perhaps trading up. On the other hand, if you're a prospective seller that's in a core downtown area, and if you don't have to sell right now, honestly, I don't know if I would. I think I'd probably wait till next year, wait till we get some vaccines, wait till this COVID thing dies down, and I think the market might shift a little bit more in your favor once commutes become an issue again.